Maybe your friend says, I'm really tired and I want to stay in tonight. I don't want to go out. You'll say, yeah, fair enough. Meaning you're not going to argue with what they're saying, but your tone here is like, oh, I wish you wanted to go out with me because I was wanting to have some fun outside the house. But you're like, fair enough. I'm not going to argue with you because you're saying you're tired. Or you might say, oh, fair enough. Yeah, I'm so tired as well. So it could be like, you're kind of disagreeing, but you're like, that's fine. Or you're like, oh, yes, fair enough. It's fair because I'm tired too. So it can mean you're totally agreeing as well. An interesting phrase in English is someone says, that's not a bad idea.
Not a bad idea.
Now, you think of this phrase, bad idea, as being negative, but it's actually positive. It's saying, like, that's good thinking, and a lot of times it means that's good planning. Maybe someone says, I'm actually going to bring an extra jacket because it's really cold out and it seems to be getting colder. You might say, that's not a bad idea, meaning I should probably think of that too because it is getting colder. You're saying it's a good idea by saying it's not a bad idea. So it's kind of a funny way to say something is good. Maybe you and your spouse, your husband or wife, say, we should order out pizza tonight. It sounds delicious. And you might say, that's not a bad idea. It's like a positive expression here. You're saying, yeah, that sounds really good. I agree. So not a bad idea means I agree. That's a good thought or a good idea. Now that we've talked about some agreeing phrases, let's talk about some ways to softly disagree in English, very polite. So you might say, I'm not so sure about that. I'm not so sure about that.
Not so sure about that.
This is a soft disagreement. So you might be expressing your doubt about a plan or someone's idea or opinion, and you might have something to say, in contrast to what they're saying. Someone might say, that restaurant is the best in town. You might say, I'm not so sure about that. I really like this place. So you're not being super confrontational. You're saying, that's your opinion, but I'm not so sure about that. I have a different opinion. Or maybe your friend says, it's definitely going to rain today. You might say, I'm not so sure about that. I just checked the weather. So you're kind of disagreeing with them without being like, you're wrong. It's a soft, polite disagreement. I'm not so sure about that. Another phrase that's pretty similar to this one, but you're saying that someone is exaggerating or, embellishing whatever they're saying is you say, I wouldn't go that far. I wouldn't go that far.
I wouldn't go that far.
So it's kind of pushing back on someone's point or idea, but not arguing directly. Again, you're not saying like, oh, you're totally wrong or you're being dramatic. You're saying, oh, I wouldn't go that far. Maybe you see a movie with your friend and they say, that was the greatest movie I've ever seen. You might say, well, I wouldn't go that far, but it was pretty good. Meaning like, that's kind of dramatic. It's definitely not the greatest movie, but it's pretty good. Maybe your friend says,